The Reform Party is embroiled in a controversy that some analysts are already calling an act of political self-sabotage. The turmoil began when key members of the party publicly criticized and alienated their own supporters, individuals crucial to the party's electoral base. These supporters, many of whom have remained loyal through shifting political tides, were stunned to find themselves the target of disparaging remarks from the very politicians they helped elevate. Videos and transcripts of these internal attacks have surfaced, sparking widespread backlash. Critics argue that the Reform Party has made a critical misstep by turning on its core voters at a time when public trust in political institutions is already fragile. The situation raises serious questions about the party's strategy heading into the next election cycle, with many wondering if it can recover from this growing rift. In this video, we'll break down exactly what was said, why these comments have ignited such outrage, and what this could mean for the party's future. We'll also bring you the latest updates on the most pressing political developments nationwide. But before we jump into the details, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and join the conversation by becoming part of our community. Your voice matters here. The controversy surrounding the Reform Party intensified when Richard Tice, a high-profile leader within the party, aligned himself with Nigel Farage in publicly distancing their movement from certain supporters, particularly those actively protesting government policies. During a televised interview, Tice was directly questioned about his stance on activist Tommy Robinson, a polarizing figure known for his outspoken opposition to government handling of immigration and policing. In response, Tice firmly stated, "We have nothing to do with them," referring to individuals demonstrating under banners decrying what they describe as two-tier policing and inadequate social care. His remarks quickly ignited a firestorm among British patriots and grassroots supporters of the Reform Party, many of whom interpreted the statement as a stark rejection of their values and efforts. The backlash was particularly strong among veterans, Christian groups concerned with the rising levels of immigration, and advocates for stricter border controls, key factions within Reform's voter base. Supporters viewed Tice's comments as a betrayal, arguing that by disavowing Robinson's backers, the party was alienating those who had long championed its platform for national sovereignty, immigration control, and a challenge to the political status quo. Social media platforms were soon flooded with messages from disillusioned voters, with some accusing Tice of pandering to mainstream political correctness, a move they feared would dilute the party's identity and mission. The outrage has raised serious concerns about the future of reform, with many questioning whether it is evolving into yet another establishment party, indistinguishable from the Conservatives or Labour in its rhetoric and priorities. As the party relies heavily on these grassroots supporters to make headway in elections, the fallout from Tice's remarks may not only impact its public image, but could also jeopardize Reform's ability to maintain momentum in a political landscape already crowded with disillusionment and competing narratives. The backlash was immediate and vocal, with many supporters expressing deep disappointment and frustration. Bluebird, a Reform member, exclaimed, "Oh, Richard, you fool! You've just alienated thousands of potential voters and completely let me down." Another member, Shah, questioned Tice's choice of words, saying, "Tommy Robinson's lot? Is that really how he refers to the thousands of people concerned about the direction this country is heading?" Some supporters even considered cancelling their memberships, seeing Tice's stance as a betrayal of the party's original values. Debbie, another frustrated member, wondered aloud whether the party was distancing itself from those who had marched peacefully, asking, "If that's the case, what does Reform stand for now?" Prime Minister Keir Starmer has unveiled plans to raise the national bus fare cap from £2 to £3, a change set to take effect in the days leading up to this week's autumn budget. Defending the decision, Starmer noted that the previous £2 fare cap, introduced as part of a temporary relief package, was only funded through 2024 by the former Conservative government. The new cap, projected to generate £350 million annually for the Treasury, is intended to help address the nation's fiscal challenges. However, The increase has ignited controversy, particularly in rural areas where buses are a lifeline for residents. Critics argue that these communities, already struggling with reduced services and unreliable routes, will bear the brunt of the change. Rural areas are being pushed into forced car ownership, trapping people in cycles of poverty and social isolation, warned Emily Yates, co-founder of the Association of British Commuters. In response to mounting criticism, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt announced a £240 million funding package aimed at bolstering local services, with the goal of improving public transport accessibility and encouraging more people to return to work. Despite these assurances, many remain skeptical about whether the funding will be enough to offset the financial burden on those who rely most heavily on public transportation. Adding to the complexity of political discourse, Prince Harry's controversial US visa has become a subject of public debate. After admitting to past drug use in his memoir, Spare, questions surfaced regarding whether he disclosed this information during his visa application process. The Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, implied that Harry may have benefited from preferential treatment. However, royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams downplayed these concerns, suggesting that even if Donald Trump, an outspoken critic of the Sussexes, were to regain office, it is improbable that Harry would face deportation. Despite the underlying tensions, Fitzwilliams emphasized that Harry and Meghan Markle have largely avoided involvement in American politics. While they recently purchased a property in Portugal, the couple reportedly intends to maintain California as their primary residence. In conclusion, the Reform Party faces a pivotal moment, grappling with the challenge of staying true to its ideological roots while trying to retain the confidence of a base that is increasingly divided. Internal disagreements over policy direction have added tension, making it unclear whether the party will pivot toward a more centrist platform or double down on its conservative principles. Meanwhile, the government's recent fiscal measures, particularly the decision to raise fare caps on public transportation, have ignited widespread debates. Critics argue that the move disproportionately affects low-income residents in rural areas where affordable transport is essential, highlighting deeper concerns about economic inequality and access to public services. Simultaneously, Prince Harry's ongoing visa dispute has captured public attention, illustrating the legal and political complications faced by high-profile figures when personal admissions, such as past drug use, collide with immigration policies. The controversy not only raises questions about fairness in visa approvals, but also sparks broader conversations about the treatment of public figures in political arenas. What do you think about these unfolding events? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for the latest updates and analysis on British news. Thank you for tuning in, and take care until next time.